Endless nights of loneliness. The silent plea of Fazza's drowning soul. The night arrives without invitation, spreading its cloak across the dunes. And I, a writer without reins, wander through the silence of my own chest, listening for echoes that never return. Loneliness is not an empty chamber. It is a crowded room, where the shadows of memory argue endlessly. And every voice sounds like yours. Though you are far, though you are gone, though you may never hear the trembling in my words, I write to the wind. And the wind tears my letters, spreading them into the desert sky. Like broken wings, I speak to the sea, and the sea replies with drowning roars, as if mocking the fragility of my plea. I whisper to the moon, but the moon is too ancient, too silent, to carry my sorrow faithfully. My soul is a falcon in captivity, once soaring, now beating its wings against the bars of absence. Every night the cage grows tighter. Every night the silence grows louder. Until I cannot tell if the pain is mine, or if I myself am the pain. I remember your eyes, two lanterns in the desert storm. I remember your voice, a song woven of rain and promise. I remember the way you did not stay. And it is that memory that haunts every breath. Endless nights unravel before me, each one a copy of the last. A script written in solitude, a tragedy without audience. I walk through corridors of darkness, and though stars scatter across the heavens, none are close enough to touch. None fall into my palm to guide me toward you. How strange! To be alive yet hollow, to breathe yet drown, to speak yet echo only to myself. The silence has become my companion. But it is a cruel companion. One that listens yet never understands. One that nods yet never embraces. One that stays not out of love, but out of the absence of all else. I wonder, is this how the desert feels? When the caravans have passed, when the music of hooves has faded, when only sand and thirst remain? Is this how the sea feels? After the sailors have gone to shore, after the ships vanish on the horizon, after the tide retreats into itself? The loneliness of the soul is deeper than oceans, wider than deserts, colder than the stars. It is a kingdom without throne, a prayer without God, a cry without ear, a drowning without water. Yet still, I call for you. I call as though calling could rebuild broken bridges, could breathe life into vanished hours, could summon you back from the distance that devoured us. I call, not because I believe you will answer, but because calling is the only way. I remember I am alive. The falcon of my heart beats, not to escape, but to remember the sky. The desert of my chest burns, not for water, but to recall the sweetness of rain. The soul within me pleads, not to be saved, but to prove it once belonged. It once was touched. It once was loved. And so I drown each night. Not in rivers, not in seas, but in the endless ocean of my own unspoken words. Loneliness builds waves higher than Manta. The hours collapse into one another, like dunes swept by restless winds, shifting, erasing, reshaping, until I no longer know whether I stand in yesterday's sorrow or tomorrow's despair. Time has become a cruel mirage. It shows me the glimmer of return, the shimmer of reunion, the promise of water at the horizon. But when I walk, when I reach, it vanishes into smoke, and I am left with sand searing in my throat. I tell myself, be strong. But strength has grown brittle. I tell myself, endure. But endurance cracks under the weight of nights that refuse to end. The desert is honest. It does not pretend that there is shade where there is none. It does not deceive with false rivers. It burns me with truth. And in its honesty, I find reflection of my own heart. Bare, scorched, yet stubbornly alive. The sea, too, speaks in riddles. Its tides rise like hope, then collapse like despair. Its waves sing of journeys, yet every wave dies. Upon the shore, I sit by its edge, listening to its eternal breathing, and I wonder if it knows my secret. That I too rise, that I too collapse, that I too die upon the shores of silence. There was a time when laughter walked beside me, when words were not daggers, but lanterns, when your presence turned nights into gardens, and days into songs. That time is gone, and yet it lives on inside me. A phantom orchard, where the fruit has withered, but the scent of blossoms remains. O beloved absence, how strange you are! You wound me endlessly, yet I cannot cast you away. You devour me whole, yet I crave the taste of you. I build temples in my heart, and though you never enter, still I keep them lit with fire. Still I sweep their floors with prayer. Tell me, what is a soul but a desert falcon? Restless, unbroken, searching for sky? And what is love but the memory of flight, the memory of a height that no cage can erase? Even when grounded, the falcon dreams of wind. Even when chained, its eyes trace the sun. So too does my soul turn to you. Though distance chains me, though silence blinds me, every rider knows. The horse remembers its path. Even blindfolded, the horse carries the rider toward the place it knows. So too does my heart. It remembers the way to you. Though my eyes are closed, though my hands are empty, nights stretch like a desert highway, endless, echoing, with no caravan to follow, with no destination in sight. Yet still I walk. The sand burns my feet, the wind slashes my face, but I walk. Because walking is remembering, because halting is forgetting. The silence is merciless. It wraps itself around me, thicker than cloth, tighter than chains. I cry out, but my cry dies before it leaves my lips. I pound my chest, but even my heartbeat answers with indifference. Is this what it means to live in exile from love? To be imprisoned in a body that refuses to listen to itself? Once, I dreamed of building you a palace, not of stone, but of words. Each verse a wall, each rhyme a tower, each stanza a gate. I dreamed